The technical committee members of other institutions like WAMA, WAMI, and WAIFEM are also here. Let's give it up for them as well. We saved the best for last, so don't think that I forgot the governor. But let's give it up for our development partners, representatives of other regional and international institutions. Let's give them another round of applause. And they are the AFDB, AECB, EBIT, African Bank, UMOAL, hope I got the pronunciation correct. And let's give it up for them, please. And then we have representatives from the various government ministries, departments, and agencies here also present. Another round of applause for them. And before we get to the best for the last, let's welcome members of other central banks, officials of other central banks who are here. Welcome to this hall. And let's now put our hands together, ladies and gentlemen, as we welcome the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Aliyene Cardoso. So it's a pleasure having you visit Liberia. Welcome. We also have representing the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Padit Asiama. He's represented by the Second Deputy Governor, Mrs. Matilda Asante Asiedo. Let's give her a big round of applause. Then also here is the Governor of the Central Bank of Sierra Leone. He's Dr. Ibrahim L. Stevens. Let's give him a big hand. The Bank of the Republic of Guinea is represented by Honorable Mohamed Lamine Conte, First Deputy Governor. He's here. Let's give him a round of applause. And then we have the Governor of the Bank of West African States, Dr. Jean-Claude Kassi-Bois. The President of the ECOWAS Commission is represented by Khalilou Sila, who is the Commissioner of Economic Affairs and Agriculture. Please give him another round of applause. If we miss out any official, it was not deliberate or intentional, but sometimes when you hear these things, things happen, but we also want to welcome you into this hall. And let's give ourselves another round of applause. And now that I've cleared all of those little beginning protocols, I'd like to now welcome the host governor of this event. Do you say His Excellency? No, I don't think you go to Excellency when you're addressing the governor. So I'll just keep it as the governor, executive governor of the Central Bank of Liberia. Let's give Mr. Henry Samoa a round of applause as he welcomes in us. Okay, the second deputy governor of the Central Bank of the Gambia is also here. Sir, please produce the arrow. Let's welcome him as well. Thank you very much. So now, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome the executive governor of the Central Bank of Liberia, who is the host governor, for his welcome address. Mr. Governor.
Thank you, Mr. Bayo, and good morning. Honorable Chairman, esteemed members members of the Committee of Governors, members of Parliament of the sub-region here present with us, the representative of the President of the ECOWAS Commission, Director Generals of WAMA, WAMI, and WAIFEM, representative of the President of the WAMA Commission, representatives of other regional and international organizations, representatives of ministries, departments, and agencies, distinguished delegates, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. It is with profound honor and a deep sense of responsibility that I welcome you, distinguished dignitaries, to this historic joint opening ceremony of the 67th Ordinary meeting of the Committee of Governors of the Central Banks of ECOWAS member states, the 52nd meeting of the Committee of Governors of the West African Monetary Zone, and the 50th meeting of the Board of Governors of the West African Institute for Financial and Economic Management. Today, as we gather under the banner of regional cooperation and shared destiny, we reaffirm our collective commitment to building a resilient, integrated, and prosperous West Africa. We gather here not only as technocrats and policymakers, but as custodians of a vision, one that seeks to bind our nations together, prosperity, resilience, and shared destiny as envisioned by our forebears. As we gather in the capital city of the Republic of Liberia, Africa's oldest republic, and one of the torchbearers of African unity, we, on behalf of the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Parker Sr., the government and people of Liberia, warmly welcome you to this historic city of Monrovia, a city named after James Monroe, the 5th President of the United States of America, reflecting the long years of historical ties between Liberia and the U.S. We also, on behalf of the Central Bank family, extend our warm praise and sincere appreciation to our fellow governors and distinguished members of the various delegations who have traveled from within and beyond our sub-region to convene in Monrovia. For President of Liberia, President Walker reaffirms that hosting these landmark meetings is both a privilege and a responsibility. I quote, "We stand ready to contribute meaningfully to the discourse and the decisions that will shape the financial future of our region, recognizing that our collective strength lies not in isolation, but in solidarity." End quote. Today, as we gather in Monrovia, we reaffirm our collective commitment to building a stronger, more resilient, and more integrated West Africa. These meetings are not merely statutory obligations. They are milestones in our shared journey towards monetary cooperation, financial stability, and the long-standing aspiration of a single regional currency. Our gathering is not merely ceremonial. It is a testament to the enduring vision of our forebears who believe in the power of unity. As former ECOWAS Secretary General Dr. Abbas Bondu once remarked, quote, regional integration is not an option for West Africa. It is an imperative for survival in a globalized world. His words remind us that our unity is not simply desirable, it is essential. Similarly, Ghana's first president, Dr. WAMI, declared decades ago, quote, the forces that unite us are intrinsic and more than the superimposed influences that divide us. This timeless wisdom continues to guide our efforts today as we strive to overcome national barriers in pursuit of collective prosperity, as well as remind us that our economic and monetary collaboration is not optional but essential. Our institutions, WAMA, WAMI, and WAIFEM, are and remain the pillars on which this vision rests. They provide technical expertise, policy frameworks, and capacity building initiatives that enable us to move forward. As former Senegalese President Macky Sall noted in his call for deeper cooperation, quote, Africa must speak with one voice in the global financial system if we are to be heard and respected. These institutions embody our determination to harmonize monetary policies, strengthen financial systems, and build capacity across member states. In doing so, we are laying the foundation for a common destiny. Mr. Chairman, honorable governors, members of parliament, distinguished guests, we convene at a time of numerous challenges and opportunities. Global economic uncertainties, climate shocks, and technological disruptions are tests to our resilience. Yet within these challenges lie opportunities to innovate, to deepen intra-regional trade, and to harness digital finance for inclusive growth. Our dream of a unified monetary zone may be ambitious, but it is achievable if pursued with courage, discipline, and ambition. Others have done it, so too can we. Today, the numbers we see are telling this sobering story. Global growth is still at 3.3% in 2025 and will likely remain unchanged in the medium term. This performance reflects the balancing of divergent global factors, including shifting trade policies, geopolitical tensions, accommodative financing conditions, and increasing investments in technology. While global inflation is trending downwards from 5.8% in 2024 to a projected 4.1% and 3.8% in 2025 and 2026, significant vulnerabilities still exist. Advanced economies continue to wrestle with service sector inflation and wage pressures, while many of our own economies face the dual challenges of currency depreciation and food price volatility. The apparent easing of global financial conditions, including the weaker US dollar, provides some relief, but conceals underlying risks of solid market adjustments that could rapidly destabilize capital flow to our region. Yet against this challenges, we are proud to say that our region has demonstrated remarkable resilience. ECOWAS economies grew by 4.5% in 2025, stronger than 4.4% in 2024, and with a projected 5% This remarkable performance relative to global trends is no accident. It reflects deliberate policy choices, improved coordination among our central banks and relevant authorities, and the reform efforts that many of our member states have undertaken despite difficult domestic circumstances. Honorable Governors, one of our most significant achievements is contained inflation. The regional inflation has fallen from 23.3% in 2024 to 16.8% in 2025, with further moderation expected in 2026. While these figures remain above our regional convergence target, the trajectory is encouraging and reflects the effectiveness of coordinated monetary policies across our member states. Each of our central banks has adopted a tailored monetary policy to national circumstances while maintaining alignment with our regional objectives. This differentiated yet coordinated approach has allowed us to address inflation while supporting economic recovery, a delicate balance that requires continuous vigilance and frequent consultations among ourselves and our fiscal counterparts. The spectrum of the broader monetary landscape has shown that exchange rate stability has improved across most of our jurisdictions, especially external reserves have strengthened and financial systems have generally remained sound. These are not merely technical achievements. They represent restored confidence, improved living standards for citizens, and a more favorable environment for the private sector investment that our economies need. Honorable Governors, fiscal performance across our sub-region has also improved. The consolidated fiscal deficit narrowed to 3.1% of GDP in 2025 from 4.8% in 2024, with continued improvements expected in 2026, bringing us significantly closer to our 3% convergence criteria. Enhanced revenue mobilization has been key, driven by stronger tax administration, improved customs performance, and better non-tax revenue collection, demonstrating our domestic revenue mobilization strategies and policies, demonstrating that our domestic revenue mobilization strategies and policies are working. We need to stay this course. I would say that we must note that expenditure pressures remain intense across our member states. Recurring spending continues to absorb a large share of budgets, leaving limited space for our infrastructure and social investments that our economies require. This is a structural challenge that will require sustained attention and, in some cases, difficult political choices about expenditure priorities and revenue enhancement. Our debt metrics show cautious improvement. The regional debt to GDP ratio is expected to decline to 42.3% in 2025, reflecting GDP growth and more prudent debt management. Nevertheless, debt service obligations remain burdensome for several member states, and we must remain committed to prioritizing concessional financing and enhancing debt transparency. External sector performance remains a source of strength. Export growth of 17.51% significantly outpaced input growth of 6.92%, contributing to a regional current account surplus of 3.5% of GDP. Commodity exports, particularly gold and cocoa, have performed well, and this has supported reserve accumulation across the region. Most member states now maintain reserve and to macroeconomic resilience. On convergence performance, the progress is noteworthy. 4 member states were expected to meet all 4 primary criteria in 2024-5, doubling the number for 2024. While 5 member states were estimated to meet 3 primary criteria, 2 member states to meet 2 primary criteria, and 1 member state meeting 1 primary criteria. These are not just mere statistics. They represent real progress towards macroeconomic stability that will underpin our monetary union. Mr. Chairman, honorable governors, distinguished delegates, allow me briefly to update you on Liberia's economic performance and our contributions to the regional integration efforts. Liberia's economy was estimated to grow by 5.1% in 2025 from 4% in 2024, exceeding both our regional average and global growth trends. The Liberian industrial sector has also shown strength, particularly in mining, where iron and gold exports have performed robustly, recording a 17% growth in 2025 from 2.1% in 2024. On inflation, we were faced with some challenges at the inception of 2025. But policy coordination with the fiscal authorities helped to moderate inflation in the second half of the year. Average inflation in 2025 stood at 8.5%, marginally above 8.3% in 2024, and stayed above 5% convergence target. Non-food inflation has been particularly persistent, though food inflation declined significantly to 5.5% in June 2025, from 11.6% in June 2024, reflecting improved domestic food supply. Consequently, inflation averaged 4.4% in the last quarter of 2025, with end period inflation at 4%. The Central Bank of Liberia has maintained a tight monetary policy stance, which has partly contributed to the easing of inflationary pressure. Accordingly, the Monetary Policy Committee reduced the policy rate from 20% at the end of June 2024 to 17.25% in April 2025, and quarter to 16.25% in October 2025 to support credit expansion and economic activity. At its first quarter sitting in 2026, the committee maintained the monetary policy rate at 16.25% with the aim of managing potential inflation expectations. Fellow governors, we are pleased to highlight fiscal performance spending in 2025 due to improved revenue mobilization and disciplined expenditure measures. Total government revenue and grants rose by 18.6% in the first half of 2025, and enabling Liberia to achieve a balanced budget well within the 3% of ECOWAS threshold. The stock of public debt was estimated to decline to 54.2% of GDP, further strengthening compliance with the ECOWAS convergence benchmark. These ratios, deficit to GDP and debt to GDP, places Liberia amongst the best performing budget deficit and debt sustainability countries of the convergence criteria. Liberia's external sector performance was also robust in 2025. Exports rose by 10%, gross external reserves increased by $101 billion to $575 million US. The net international reserves surpassed the annual FFB target of US $266 billion by almost US $16 billion at the end of 2025, from the US $234 million recorded in 2024. The Liberian dollar depreciated by only 0.9% against by 3.2% compared to December 2024. The banking system remains sound and stable. Federal adequacy ratios and liquidity ratios stood at 37.9% and 50.1% respectively, far above the minimum regulatory threshold. Non-performing loans declined from 17.9% at end December 2024 to 12.58% at end December 2025, manifesting targeted measures by the CBL to improve asset quality and unlock credit to the private sector, which we name the engine of growth. On the convergence front, Liberia met 4 of the 6 convergence criteria, 2 of the 4 primary criteria, and all of the secondary criteria. We are making substantial progress to bring inflation down to the regional benchmark of almost 5% in the medium term. Honorable Governors, being mindful of our progress, we cannot rest on our laurels as significant challenges still remain. First, achieving the inflation criteria will require sustained monetary discipline, continued coordination among our central banks, and supportive fiscal policies, considering the complementary role of fiscal and monetary policies. Second, fiscal deficits in many member states remain above target, despite recent improvements. The pressures are real as the demand for public services, infrastructure needs, and social programs compete for limited resources. We must find ways to enhance revenue mobilization, improve expenditure efficiency, and create fiscal space for productive investments. Third, debt sustainability concerns persist. While regional debt ratios have improved, several member states face heavy debt service burdens. We must continue prioritizing concessional financing, improving debt management capacity, and enhancing transparency of our debt obligations. Fourth, external vulnerabilities remain. Our economies are heavily dependent on processed commodity exports. We remain exposed to price shocks and global demand fluctuations. Building external buffers and diversifying our economies must remain priorities. Distinguished delegates, on all the institutional preparations for our monetary union, we have been reliably informed about the achievement of significant milestones. While the Central Bank of West Africa federal requirement of US $187 billion and reserve pooling arrangement of US $4.5 billion have been determined and approved, the monetary union agreement and the Central Bank of West Africa statutes are ready for adoption. The legal framework of the ECOWAS Solidarity and Stabilization Fund with US $1.252 billion in capital is also ready for adoption. Our monetary policy framework based on inflation targeting is also substantially complete. However, we are still confronted by critical bottlenecks that have implications for the 2027 timeline to the launch of our single currency, the euro. After several years of discussions, we have not agreed on the host country of the Central Bank of West Africa headquarters. This is a matter of concern and urgency as it may affect institutional planning and the operational readiness of our future central bank. Similarly, implementation of the ECOWAS payment and settlement system has been delayed due to funding constraints, coupled with a pending decision on the selection of the host country for the EPSS. Thus, we are advancing our advisory for political commitment to mobilize necessary resources. Just as we are prioritizing the enhancement and strengthening of our respective national payments and infrastructures, we should prioritize the EPSS too. EPSS can unlock a lot of opportunities for inter-regional trade and strengthen monetary union in our member states. Given these institutional bottlenecks, combined with the macroeconomic convergence gaps, we must be realistic about timeline and strategy for the single currency project while remaining committed to our ultimate objective. The pursuit of a single currency within ECOWAS has been a long-standing trend. As Nigeria's former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, once emphasized, quote, economic integration is the surest path to political stability and sustainable development in West Africa. End quote. His conviction underscores the importance of our work here to harmonize monetary policies, strengthen financial institutions, and ensure that our economies can withstand global shocks. Honorable Governors, the people of West Africa are watching us. They have entrusted us with the responsibility of managing their currencies, maintaining price stability, and supporting economic growth. They expect us to deliver on the promises of regional integration, not through rhetoric, but through concrete actions that improve their lives and livelihoods. Our mandate is clear, Honorable Governors. We're here to harmonize monetary policies, strengthen financial systems, and build capacity across our member states. But beyond the technical language lies a deeper purpose: the creation of a West Africa that is economically integrated, financially stable, and socially inclusive. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo also once said, we must not only integrate our economies, but also our hearts and minds. For integration without solidarity is hollow. End quote. Let us take these words to heart. But without solidarity, our convergence criteria are just numbers. With solidarity, it becomes the foundation of transformation. So, the key question that we need to grapple with today, Honorable Governors, is, do we need to take a look at our strategy towards the single currency program? What lessons can we learn from all European unions? We have GLICIAO. The GLICIAO is one union that we can look in achieving our dream. As we bring this welcome statement to a close, we urge all of us to approach these deliberations with renewed vigor, guided by the wisdom of our leaders, past and present, and the aspirations of our people. Let us ensure that when history looks back on this moment, it will say that West Africa chose cooperation over fragmentation, resilience over vulnerability, and unity over division. Nelson Mandela once said, when he spoke for all of Africa, it always seems impossible until it is done. Our work here